Hello everyone, welcome back to Planet Coaster and welcome back to the absolutely wonderful Lake Willis. That was a bit biased, but oh well. Today we are starting the main street and we're starting off with a look at the final product. I think, this is a good way to do it maybe, which is just a still, which is kind of replacing the cinematic. I'm doing it this way because you can't really make a cinematic out of one individual building, now can you? So of course I'm just doing it like this, and just got some ambient sounds in the background, just to tell you a bit of background on it. This is going to be the main street of the park. However, I don't want it to be like Disney's main street where it's just one straight line all the way down. I've laid out the path quite weirdly, if you get what I mean. You'll see more of like a bird's eye view of it during the time lapse, and basically it's kind of on a curve, and there's a little bit that goes off, and then I've also done a square which is going to have some sort of square or eating area really, and it's all raised up as well, because that's one thing I wanted to get into this park is leveling or terrain, whatever you want to call it, which is something that my other parks really lacked, to be completely honest. So that's something I do want to get into this park. But yes, I'll stop talking. I'll continue talking into the time lapse, but oh well, let's just get into the time lapse of how I built this building. Right, so we're in the time-lapse now, and this is basically how the building came together. If you don't know what a time-lapse is, I shouldn't really need to explain that, to be completely honest. And yeah, so this is, well, completely identical to a certain building on Main Street USA over in Disney World, and yeah, and that is the aesthetic I wanted to go for this Main Street. Not necessarily exact same look as Main Street USA, but that style of building. I don't know what that style of building is actually called, like probably 1950s American, I don't know, I genuinely have no idea. Let's just call it the Disney Main Street style for now. And so yeah, so that's basically what I'm doing at the moment, using quite a bit of columns. This is what I always do. I always use column pieces. I never actually use proper walls. I rarely use proper walls. If I use proper walls, it's either because I just want it to get done and I don't really care much about detail, or the piece count is too high to not use walls basically. And so yeah, this is something I highly recommend if you want to like properly do detailed buildings in Planet Coaster. I would suggest just using column pieces and different individual pieces rather than just using walls all the time, because the thing is with the walls, they're restricted to their grids and you can't really get a lot of creativity out of that, you can't get a lot of detail out of that, and you can only place them down so much. You can't rotate them around, you can't rotate them on a vertical axis, and it's just it's not great, to be honest. I mean, no, you can't rotate them on a horizontal axis, sorry, and that's what I meant to say, vertical axis. You can rotate them on a vertical axis. So yeah, so in real life, I think this building in real life is more of like a golden colour, but here we're going for like a light blue colour, very vibrant, to be completely honest. That's another thing I didn't say. It's going to be Main Street USA, but vibrant. It's going to have its own style, it's going to have its own little touch basically, because whilst referencing images from Google or other theme parks, whatever, is good to build in Planet Coaster. You should be doing that if you really do want to build well. You shouldn't really copy it exactly. You should always put in your own sort of style to it. You should always add some more to it, see what you can add to it, see what it's missing. And actually doing the windows here, and you might see me place down those little bar things, and now those aren't in the game, those are toolkit pieces. They're toolkit Q-line pieces. I've used them quite a bit for my projects recently, especially Nemesis as well. I've used those pieces in Nemesis, as you probably saw from a couple episodes ago. Of course, the iconic candle firework pieces making a return, because these pieces are great and they're tiny and they can just be used for detail anywhere, to be completely honest. And yeah, just doing these windows, wanted to put that little pitched roof sort of look to it. I don't know why I did that. I think the main reason I did that was probably because I didn't like how it was just a blank column. You know, it had to have something there, not to make it look like a blank column, to be completely honest. So what am I doing now? Oh, I'm putting more down. And yeah, so this is the windows basically. And one thing you should also do, if you want to do windows in Planet Coaster, don't just put a glass piece and call it a day. I mean, you can do that if it's a modern building, because that is what modern buildings look like. But like when it's an old sort of style building, like what I'm doing here, you need to have things like those little bar things on the window, because I don't know, because you have to remember back then, I think they didn't really have the ability to do like a full glass window without the need for any brackets or anything in between. And this as well is multicolored. This is taken from the one in real life, and I think the one in real life, I think it's the other end of the Emporium, it's the further end of the Emporium facing towards the castle. I think that's what this building is. And yeah, and eventually I was thinking about doing an interior for this. I was thinking about doing an interior, but the problem with doing an interior is the piece count just goes up even more than it already is. And if I want to do an interior in every single shop and restaurant in the entire park, that's gonna send the piece count to the moon, and I probably won't be able to run the park after a while. And so you've just got to keep the piece count down, see where you can sacrifice some stuff. I would love to do an interior to it, but I just fear that if I do an interior to it, then I'll probably do an interior to every shop and every restaurant, and eventually the piece count will be at like 200,000 and I won't be able to run the park. But yeah, that is a downside of Planet Coaster, though. Hopefully they fix that in Planet Zoo, where the piece count, I don't know actually, can they fix it? I don't even know if they can fix it, to be completely honest. But yeah, adding this sort of like, what's it called, like sort of an overhang balcony thing above, sort of like what you would see on an old cinema building. I don't know what it's called, but it's just something to put signs there. I have left the signs blank, by the way. The signs are the red bits. I have left them blank for now. Not entirely sure what I'm going to put there. Maybe just some menu items, you know, this is chief beef, you can get some chips, you can get a burger, you can get a hot dog or something. I don't know, probably just put that on the signs anyway. But yeah, now starting the main sort of central circular thing bob that you go underneath, I don't know what to call it. The main circular windows really. These adventure pieces, haven't used those in a while, and they are actually really good pieces. They are very small, and it's basically like a miniature wall piece, to be honest, because you can rotate it on the horizontal axis, you can rotate it on all the axes, you can place it down whenever you want. It's not a gridded item, it's a miniature wall. And the only downside to this piece is the bit that sticks out at the back, which means you can't really use both sides of it, which is unfortunate, because if they had a piece like that didn't have a back of it sticking out and maybe wasn't so textured, so it looks more plain, that would be a great miniature wall piece, to be completely honest. I know there is a wall piece in the game that isn't a gridded wall, and I have used that a lot of times, but this piece is really nice. It's a really nice piece. Right, I've been talking about that piece for way too long now, so let's get back on track. Actually no, I can't say pun intended because we're not building a coaster. Yeah, so this window, I know I mentioned that windows should have those bars in them, and yeah, I realised I've forgotten to do that, so I am actually going to go back into Planet Coaster after this video is uploaded and put bars there, because you know, I can't go and say, oh, you should put bars in your windows if it's an old building to make it look more realistic if I don't do it there, because that's kind of contradicting myself. Is that the right word? No idea. Yeah, so what am I doing here? I don't know. Putting those pieces down there again. I'm not going to talk about those pieces because I've already talked about those pieces enough. And yeah, just doing the old simple duplicate and rotate trick that everyone knows to do. You know, there's no point in building it over and over again if you can just simply rotate it like that very, very easily and done very quickly. Now the rest of this build, the rest of this tower is going to be the roof. Now, in real life, this roof has sort of like it's not a spire roof, it's got a flat piece on top of it, and which is very, very convenient, to be completely honest, because that really helps. That did not make sense. Helps? I don't know. That really helps with the roof tile pieces, because basically with the roof tile pieces, they can only come so close together that you can't make like a proper spine out of them. Basically, that's what I mean. You can't make a proper spine out of the roof tile pieces if you not. What? Wait, no, it's not called a spine. Oh. I've been calling it a spine this entire. It's called a spire, not a spine. I don't know. I'm completely oblivious today. You can't make a proper spire out of these roof tile pieces purely because they're too big, and when they come together too closely, they clip through each other, and it just looks weird at the top that you have to end up putting some sort of decoration at the top instead. And you know, it's just, yeah. So yeah, done these roof tiles. Once again, simple duplicate and rotate around this structure, purely because I can't be bothered to do those roof tiles all over again. Yes, I know just hit the mic, sorry. I know the wooden columns, whatever, that are slanted over are in different positions, and some roof tiles are clipping through, but you don't really notice it, to be completely honest. You only notice it if you're right up close to it. And so yeah, now starting this flat roof sort of thing that has the flag on it. Like I said, this was really convenient that this was here, because it means that I don't have to do so many roof tiles and they don't have to clip through each other, and it's just a nice topper really. And so yeah, so the rest of this video is just going to be this and then the roof, and that'll be it. So I'm going to shut up now. I'm going to leave you with some theme park music. I don't know what I'm going to put on, and maybe let's put on some Charpast or Avalon music, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Goodbye.